All right, y'all. A couple of days ago, when I was being triggered about everything, this video that's going to follow showed up on my TikTok. Just take a listen, and I'll share with you some of my feelings about it.
To the girl who works at Starbucks down the street from my house on Delmar Heights Road, swear to God, I'm not a stalker. That's the title. When I asked you for a chai latte, what I meant to say was, I was walking past, I saw you in the window. To be honest, I only came in here because I had to know what your voice sounded like.
So when I say I was triggered by this, I was triggered in a way of remembering times when, I didn't feel as outcast. As y'all know, over the past few days, I felt like, boy, seriously, nobody cares, and nobody has cared for many years. And that thought really, really scared me. And it triggered me in a way of just remembering. And this is great because it's all a culmination of, like I said, those days were awful, those past 3 days. And then I had a day where God sent me people to really love on me and care about me just for that one day. Then the next day, my existence turned back into a pumpkin. And it was nothing different about the way I looked, spoke, behaved. It was all the same. God just wanted to show me that people care about me, but He just has a plan. He runs that. So, but back to the story that I was talking about. When I was younger in college, there was a 7-Eleven off of VCU campus. I've had every job known to man. And I remember I would have customers that would come in and they would tell me, and I remember it was this white guy this time. And he said how he stood outside of the store like for hours, like for literally almost my whole shift, just watching me. And he said he loved to watch the way that I worked, and he enjoyed watching me work. And he just had to let me know that he appreciated. Nothing weird, nothing like that. He just appreciated the way that I worked. And I thought that was beautiful, just to be appreciated in general. When I was young, I didn't understand because I thought maybe I don't understand and maybe there's something crazy or stalkerish. But it wasn't. He just appreciated watching me work. That's how efficiently I worked, and he enjoyed it. And so thankful to that man, you know. And then I've had other situations where I got older where people would come in and they would, just straight up ask me, was I single? And me being young, I thought that was weird. Like, why would you ask somebody single? But then when you get older, you realize that some people are at a point where they're just like, okay, they need somebody. This person seems viable. Let me find out if they're single. They don't want to play any games. Cut to the chase. I get it. It's almost the equivalent, I think, of like an arranged marriage where, you don't go through all that cutesy stuff in the beginning. You know that you want to get married. Here's a person that, seems like they have the basics of what you would like to see in a person that you want to marry. Let me ask them if they're single, you know? So continuing on, because there's a few things in here that made me feel there's a few different ways.
Instead of saying that, I got really nervous and ordered the first thing on the menu.
So this part of it took me back to another job. Like I said, every job known a man, clothing store. And I remember, again, being young and attractive, and the manager there was like, it was a men's store. Men will come in here just because they see you in the window when they walk past, and they want to be close to you. They want to feel your presence. They want to smell your perfume, your scent. And they were just like, they will come back. And also in food industry too, they'll come back just to see you, to talk to you. It's not about the product. They're coming back to see you, and they'll purchase something just because you're here and to impress you. Which ironically, there's no chance of hell of that happening these days. But yeah, that's what reminded me of the manipulation of marketing at different places and putting people in place to make that happen.
You know what chai is. Or a latte, for that matter.
He goes to this woman's workplace, and it's kind of like a Starbucks type of deal. And he's talking about a chai or a latte. And the memory that it brought back to me is when I first heard of Starbucks, and back then they were trying to make it into this big like luxury thing. And I remember thinking, I don't even drink coffee. I would never go to Starbucks. But then somebody's like, you should really try it. It's really good. And so they recommended caramel macchiato, which I did. But now in hindsight, when I look back on that, it's just a bunch of sugar, just random thoughts. Is this making me sad? It is. So I'm not sure why this thing keeps muting me like at the end. This is a new phone. But anyways, it's bits and pieces, but this guy's actual whole video is really good. If you want to see it, it'll probably try to put the whole thing in the end, or you can go check out TikTok. But I'm gonna test out and see what's happening. This phone is
I
retarded.
imagine that when God made you, I bet he cussed for the first time. I bet he turned to an angel, gave him a high five, and said, "God damn, I'm good." Or "Me damn, I'm good," because he's like God, right? I spent the last 5 days trying to figure out how I'm going to introduce myself to you properly. I finally figured it out. It's going to be something like, "Hi." That's all I got so far. But I think it's a good start. I'm going to be honest. It's not often that I find myself eager to write about love. In fact, every time I try to write about love, my hands cramp. Just to show me how painful love can be.
All right, so this elicited another memory from me, and hopefully it doesn't cut out the volume as it has been doing previously. But he talks about being a love poet and writing about poetry. You know, my poetry days have long passed. It doesn't mean that I'll ever get it back. It's like I've lost all that feeling. You know, you've lost that love and feeling. I lost all the feeling that's needed to write and write passionately and succinctly, which is what to me poetry is. But I remember being in Richmond, Virginia, again, VCU days, and there was a spoken word venue. There was a white guy that got up, and I don't know what it was. I think I was going to do a poem, and I think it was based on love. And the guy got up, and he was just like, you know, he hates love. All right, so it muted itself again. So I think I'm going to have to download an outside app or something. It's so weird. But anyways, you know, it turned out being a love poem, even though he came up and first thing was he hate love poems. And I don't even remember what else I had to say about it. Oh, there's a TikToker on TikTok, and his name is Former Love Poet. And I don't think I've ever seen any poetry that he's done, but he does a lot on African American genealogy, and I guess that's love in itself.
Sometimes my pencils break just to prove to me that every now and then, love takes a little more work than you planned. I heard that love is blind, so I write all my poems in Braille. And my poems are never actually finished because true love is endless. I've always believed that real love is kind of like a supermodel before she's airbrushed. It's pure and imperfect, just the way that God intended. I'm going to be honest, I'm not much of a love poet. But if I was to wake up tomorrow morning and decide that I was going to write about love, my first poem, it would be about you. About how I love you the same way I learned how to ride a bike. Scared, but reckless, with no training wheels or elbow pads so my scars can tell the story of how I fell for you. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not much of a love poet, but if I was, I'd write about how I see your face in every cloudy reflection in every window. You see, I've written a million poems hoping that somehow, maybe some way you'll jump out of the page and be closer to me. You see, I'm not much of a love poet, but if I was, I'd write about how you have the audacity to be beautiful even on days when everything around you is ugly. I'd write about your eyelashes and how They're like violin strings that play symphonies every time you blink. If I was a love poet, I'd write about how I melt in front of you like an ice sculpture every time I hear the vibration in your voice. And whenever I see your name on the caller ID, my heart plays hopscotch inside of my chest. It climbs onto my ribs like monkey bars, and I feel like a child all over again. I know it's gonna sound weird, but sometimes I pray that God somehow turns you back into one of my ribs just so I would never have to spend an entire day without you. And I swear,
I'm trying out a few different camera apps because the internal one is muting me in the middle of everything. I tried the last one, it's a lot of feedback. So we're going to try this one and see how it works. But again, another part of this guy's poem made me really, really sad because it brought back a memory that should be glad. But he talked about how, it's something about, the woman being his rib and something. Y'all heard it. But I remember again when I was younger, there was a guy that I met. And that was his whole thing about women. He would always say, and again, I'm naive, so I might just been stupid, but I have no idea what's going on. So this one is mutant too. Basically, what happened was a became, but basically, I was saying that perhaps men just feel like this when they're young and they get older, they don't feel like that anymore. And this is what I mean. It's just so many things that are happening. I'm just trying to express myself, and this is something that shouldn't be rocket science, but it's like every little thing that can happen. How does your camera on your phone not work? Every teeny tiny thing that could happen is happening. And then I have a situation with the plumbing in the restroom. And then I have a situation with the glass and the dustpan. And then I have a situation with, transportation. It's so many things that are happening. I just, overwhelmed.
I'm usually not a love poet, but if I was to wake up tomorrow morning and decide that I was gonna write about love, my first poem, it would be about you. And after all of that, she was like, but how do you feel about me? And I said, put it like this: I want to be your ex-boyfriend's stuntman. I want to do everything he never had the courage to do. Like trust you. See, last night I had a dream. In this particular dream, I died in my dreams, awoke not knowing I was still asleep, and decided to walk. See, that night, I walked in my sleep. I slept in my walk. I walked backwards until I saw you for the first time, and I could barely muster the courage to introduce myself all over again. You see, I've been trying to find the right words. I've been trying to take the right steps for what seems to me like thousands of years, but something always seems to go wrong between us. We lived in Egypt. I was the Pharaoh's slave. You were his daughter. Loving you led to my death. They claimed I seduced you, and after they stole my life, I was resurrected as a mason. I made the foundation for your house. We met eyes for 2 seconds. You left and I didn't see you again until I died. I came back as a caterpillar. I turned into a butterfly. I landed in the palm of your hands. You brushed me away and the rejection killed me. When I woke, I was a kick drum. You were a snare. We were both owned by this drummer named Cozy Cole, and when he died, so did we, but I came back just to look for you. I left notes in random places, hoping that.
All right, y'all, yet another app. So let's see what happens with this one. Is there going to be background noise or is it going to mute? But again, this made me really sad. The guy's talking this beautiful, beautiful thing about how, they keep missing each other in all these different lifetimes. And it almost sounds like desperately he's not trying to miss it in this one. And it brought to mind the thought that, everybody loves and deserves to be loved, right? And, not in any romantic type way, but just care. Just like I said, human care. And, what if, and I don't know, it hurts that, when absolutely no one cares. Like I said, God tried to show me that. Y'all, this is so messed up. I can't even get a voice. But God tried to show me the other day. It's cutting off, it's muting. So I have to verbally just go over it all again. Showed me the other day how, that it's not even about all of that. People do care, but he's doing something. He's maneuvering this a certain way for a certain reason. I don't know if it's to make me stronger or what. But then I went on to talk about how, what the sad thing of the story is, what if we were all missing puzzle pieces, or all these people that are loners are puzzle pieces that belong to a particular puzzle, but that one puzzle piece got lost or got left behind, and now it's sitting on the side of the road, dirty somewhere, wet, being stepped on, soggy, and rendered completely useless, to anyone else or anything else because it belongs with that one puzzle. It doesn't fit any other puzzle except for that puzzle. And then that other part, like he was talking about, if there's another person like that and they're searching for each other over eons and ages, that they may not even be in the same part of that puzzle or part of that same puzzle. So it's almost impossible for those missing puzzle pieces to ever come together or be useful to society or anyone else. I said it better the first time because it's straight from the heart, straight as I felt it. But for whatever reason, like I said, and this is making me sad, I can't even have a voice. I can't even speak. It's the thing is cutting me off or something else weird is happening.
You would stumble across them. I carved our names in trees and then prayed that it would jog your memory. I whispered your name in the wind, hoping somehow, maybe some way, my voice would reach you, but it didn't, and I died. I died early. I died young with breadcrumbs in my hand, just hoping that you would find me, but you never did, so they buried me. When they buried me, they put these coins over my eyes, and I used them as bus fare to get back to Earth, just so I could look for you. That's why sometimes when we hold hands, every so often, I hold on a little too tight, and I'm sorry. I just don't want to lose you again. My mother told me, when you find the perfect woman, you got to do whatever it takes to make sure she stays next to you. Thank you.
Okay, so yet another app. So at the end of the video, he talks about a couple of different things, one where, all the things that he would do just to get her approval or get to her or whatever like that, right? And then the second being, I don't even remember, but it's all related to that. So basically, the way that it made me feel, how they had a saying that, if a man wants to, and this is not, I don't care nothing about romantic relationships. I'm just talking about people in general. People in general, if they wanted to, they would, if someone wanted to be in your corner, if someone wanted to be of value to you or be of use to you, right? They would go through burning hell and hell, they'd go through fire and brimstone to do it, no matter what. There's nothing that wouldn't be able to stop them, right? But then when people don't care, the smallest thing, it could be just encouragement, prayer, whether it's silent encouragement, whether, that's not even really open and directed to you, they won't do that, And that kind of hurt me because, and I don't want to throw a pity party for myself because, like I said, God showed me the other day that there is love. And, even though, 99.999 almost to the infinity, absolutely no one cares, But, there's at least one person, regardless, and this is what makes me really sad too, but you don't know what the intention is. The last time somebody was nice to me or kind of semi-showed they cared, which was stupid of me because I had almost gotten drugged, but all right, so this is so annoying. It muted me again, and I didn't even realize it. It's on various apps. I don't know why it's doing that, but anytime someone even, I'm going to try it without the headset. Maybe that'll be better. Cared that it was somebody that was planted by the system. The system planted them there. And I remember being in the midst of that situation and thinking, no, nobody wouldn't really do that because why would someone do that? And I guess for money, and it doesn't take a lot of money to encourage somebody to do that to someone else, to manipulate someone else. But when you think about it, when we go into our jobs and all that, people are being manipulated daily. They talk about the Jamaican romance scammers or whatever, but that's the same thing that regular call centers and stuff do down here. I still can't get over that last place I was at where they were charging like $1,000 for services annually. And these people thought they were really getting something, but they weren't. They weren't getting anything they couldn't do themselves, 99.999% of the time. It was ridiculous. But anyhow, yeah, it cut me off again. It's like, is the universe doing something weird with me? Is God really effing with me like that? You know, something as simple as recording a video, it shouldn't be. So I'm going to try the regular camera without the microphone. I'm going to try the regular camera without the microphone this time. I don't think it'll make a difference. It'll still mute because I think it muted when I had headphones and like plug-in headphones. But to add on to all of that, I'm going to talk about energy. If y'all remember the girl that brought me my lost phone when I lost it, and then I was so excited and happy, and I was telling her, "Ooh, then I hope I get her again so I can tip her." And then I wasn't expecting to go out, and I got her again. I wasn't expecting it to be her, and I had all kinds of things happening that night, so I was very stone faced when I got in and whatever. So she didn't even get her tip. She didn't get at least the service that she, thought she was going to get from a customer, just casual vibe, presence, whatever. Then I got her again, and then I apologized for it, and I told her what happened, and I said, definitely, that's the purpose of me going out here is to get cash back, and I'll get you, if I get you again. And I was like, and I thought I was good because that was my plan. But then when I went into the store, I didn't have my PIN number for my debit card, so I couldn't get cash back. And I was like, oh Lord, if I get her again, it's going to be another excuse. So, learning lessons from that, Yeah, this is awful. It muted again. I feel like I really need to just go take this phone back. I'm pissed now. But basically, I was saying lessons from that is that basically God is not wanting me to speak on anything because each and every single thing that I speak on, I swear, it turns out to be the exact opposite of whatever I say. If that woman had gotten me again, she would not have gotten her money, and then it would have just been another excuse. I have no idea what's going on in my life. Simple things like this fucking camera to record a freaking video. The volume is muting out on me. Just weird stuff. So whatever.